Greetings and salutations. I am Chief Security Officer Don Cornelio of American Muscle Security LLC, in conjunction with Stack Books Foundation LLC, in conjunction with Parent Group Confidential LLC. Salute to everybody as what is during Operation We're Forged. This is Operation Get Well USA, and I'm your hostess, Donnie Agar, badge number 11516464772, bodyguard, whistleblower, watchdog, search party coordinator, me, special police. I did say police. It's March 22nd. I'm led to believe. No, it's the 21st, 2026, and we're at the Carnegie Public Library on the second floor, podcast room, study room A. If you want to join me, 412-587-9549 by invite only. Zoom, I'm doing Zoom meetings. I got a couple extra cell phones. I can zoom you in on the Zoom meeting. You can zoom in, stackbooksfoundation@gmail.com. Send a text or send an email, and you can participate in this live study session. Do not monetize this video. This is only for study purposes, only for serious study students. You gotta wanna be a lawyer. You gotta wanna be a forensics officer specifically, some form of law enforcement officer at all, a public safety officer, a firefighter, a medic, some form of EMT, a nurse's aide, some form of nurse, some form of civil servant, or want to be in the military, and this study group is for you. Okay, so what I basically study is material based on the curriculum from my classes that I study at Coursera.org. I encourage you to study there. It's a great technical college, online, students only. You can't really attend in the physical, but you get great material. You can get your bachelor's degree. You can get your associate's degree at Coursera. So don't let anybody fool you. Like, Coursera is some of those also reputable technical schools, right? Or technical institutes that are free though. I'll give you an example of one of those. American Red Cross has some free platforms where you can get certified in different courses. Like, I got certified in business courses there, AI courses, health campaigns, UNICEF, United Nations. They provide, if you want to volunteer for them, you got to start at the bottom. You want to start learning. They have a platform called Agora. You're going to learn online and get certified. You get a certificate as well for free. Now, getting back to Coursera is more so you pay for that. You can audit classes, but you will not get a certificate unless you pay at least $50 for a certificate. EDX is more on the higher end. This is a platform that was created by MIT, the best school out there, of the Ivy League schools. Harvard and MIT combined forces to create a platform called EDX. And you can get various certificates from various universities, such as Harvard, such as this, such as that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But unfortunately, you cannot get Harvard curriculum certificates or any courses from Coursera. I checked, and you can't. You just got to either go to Harvard Extension School or directly to Harvard, or go to EDX to get that. Coursera, though, you can get classes from Yale, you can get classes from Columbia, you can take classes not directly, but from the professors that teach them. They teach these courses, and you can get certified. Again, you can get a bachelor's degree from courses from universities like Georgetown University, from various universities. You pick your university, and you can get a bachelor's degree, associate's degree. Me, I don't really have the budget right now. My loans are in default, so I'm working to pay back the money that I owe for college. Fortunately, I didn't go to school for a long time, or a Big Ten university for a long time, so I don't owe that much money. Right now, it's about somewhere around maybe $1,000 or something like that, no more than that. But once I pay that off, I'm hoping to go to a Big Ten university, like maybe not a Big Ten, like a community college, and get my bachelor's degree from maybe like a CCAC or some community college. It doesn't have to be anything big, but I have given thought to doing more. But right now I just do certificates through Coursera, EDX, etc., etc. So on EDX and Coursera, I take courses from Nanyang University. I got the introduction to forensic science. I scored a 69%. I'm going to take that class again so I can get a higher grade. So when I do apply for internships for detectives, for law firms, for laboratories, for police departments, they're going to take me more serious whenever I get above a 69%. 69% is not a very impressive score in forensic science. You can't say, oh, well, it's forensic science, so 69%, this is good for forensic science. No, it is not. It is passing. It meets the requirements of what you want to do, of putting yourself in the arena. So you're in the arena of doing the work, but you want to get at least a 3.5 in the class. The guys that are really going to get a good look, the ladies that are really going to get a good look for a job, are the 3.6, 3.7, 3.8 in that class, and in the major in general. You want to get a bachelor's degree if you really want to work for a department. If you want to work for yourself, you can just get certifications, but you want to have a well-rounded knowledge. Let's get into what we're doing right now. So also, if you want to be a correctional officer, a jail guard, or even a security guard, just a security guard, that's fine with me, because I started my own security company, American Muscle Security LLC, so that I could be the chief security officer, which I am, of my security company, and I don't have to do the armed duties and requirements of a security guard company. I could hire people to do that. I could hire people to do unarmed security. What I do is unarmed security. I don't need a weapon. I just basically operate a drone. I set up surveillance equipment. I walk around and I patrol, and I'm the ears and the eyes of whatever client hires me, whether it's a wedding, a graduation, a music event, any form of webinar, workshop for, a motivational speaker or some professor that wants to do a workshop. So wherever you are, a poet, you need me, I do that. My security company is also canine services, so we do have the option to deploy dogs to sniff out any drugs or any weapons in any area where we secure, whether it's a tour bus, whether it's a venue, whatever it be. So this is the reason why, if you want to be a security guard or a jail guard, you would be good for this discussion group. And this is the reason why in the beginning of every study session, I cite the Correctional Officer's Creed, because that's also an option for me. Once I build rapport and clear out for some of the mistakes that I made, I gotta do a little bit cleaning on my record. I don't really have a bad record or anything like that, but even me, I can do independent contract work in forensics because it doesn't incur me using a weapon or anything, tactical, it's just lab work. So, but for me to actually be a jail guard or whatever, I have to do some cleaning up on my record. So it's not personal. We all have some catching up to do. But we cite the police officer's creed, the firefighter's creed, et cetera, on different occasions, but most occasions we cite the correctional officer's creed. So let's begin this course, and let's, the library is going to close at about 5 o'clock. We got about 40 minutes of some studying that we can get into, so let's do it. I hereby pledge to speak sparingly, to act not to argue, to be an authority through personal presence, to correct without nagging, to speak with the calm voice of certainty, to see everything, to know what is significant and what not to notice, to be neither insensitive to distress nor so distracted by pity as to miss what must elsewhere be seen. Today's suit is brought to you by your nearest thrift store that blessed me with this, because I shop at thrift stores. I just want to say there may be a little bit of dirt on me, a little bit of I came from looking at a house, a job site. I also do odd jobs, general labor jobs. I like landscape, and I paint houses. I move furniture. I do a lot of carpentry and demolition, knock down walls and stuff like that. So we were checking out a house, me and a few of my buddies who do those general labor jobs, and I was wearing this because I'm basically the head honcho of my I also have a landscaping company too. So I was at a job site, so I got a little dust on me because we're going to be refurnishing a house and bringing it to code. So forgive me if I turn my back and I got some dust on me that I don't see, but you know, to do neither that which is unkind nor self-indulgent in its misplaced charity, never to obey the impulse to tongue lash that silent insolence, which in time past could receive the lash to be both firm and fair, to know I cannot be fair simply by being firm, nor firm simply by being fair. To support the reputation of associates and confront them without anger should they stand short of professional conduct, to reach for the knowledge of the continuing mysteries of human motivation, to think, always to think, to be dependable, first to my charges and my associates, and thereafter to my duty as employee and citizen, to keep fit, to keep forever alert, to listen to what is meant as well as what is said, with words and with silences, to expect respect for my charges and superiors, and yet to never abuse the one for abuses from the other. For 8 hours each working day, to be an example of the person I could be at all times, to acquiesce and notice honest act, to cultivate patience under boredom and calm during confusion, to understand the why of every order I take or give. I got a little confession to make after we get to the end of this. In fact, I'll do it right now before I forget. So, earlier this week, I was tempted to let my patience. Somebody was trying my patience when I was studying, and it wasn't in a library. It was actually in a park, and you know, somewhere near the south side, I was at a park, and somebody was trying to play. You know, there was that one guy who wants to be a cop or whatever. And, you know, excuse me, you mind just, you know, let me study. I'm busy here. So, you know, I didn't want to, but I started noticing myself underneath my breath, you know, saying some speech, you know, which is almost getting entangled in the bondage of somebody saying something back. You never want to say anything back to somebody that's taunting you. And you know, this is why I usually print up one of these and I keep it with me. So anytime I get tempted to get angry, get mad, or to argue, or to go tit for tat with somebody, even the first tit, they can reel you in because they're just fishing to get you mad. You know what I'm saying? So this is the reason why I say this creed. And I encourage my study group, those in my virtual study group and in the physical whenever we meet, to say this creed, because it's almost like the Apostles' Creed. It's not really like that deep when it comes to spirituality, because this is not a spiritual thing. This is more so, it's more tangible, it's more so practical. But even the practice of these practical, this regimen will keep you out of trouble. Just like the Apostle Creed, you ask your, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, and all that stuff that you do. I do that too. I say that in church when I go, and whatever the Apostles' Creed is, it's not that I forget. It's just at the moment I'm on this right now. You know what I'm saying? Every man has a code. This is the man code of the police officer, of the correctional officer, of the jail guard, of the security guard. You have a code. I'm pretty sure the security guards, whatever company you work for, you have your code too. This is what keeps us out of trouble. Okay? You know, we're security officers. We're forensics officers. We don't. It's not our job to respond with firearms, with weaponry. I'm not going to baton you. I'm not going to do any of this, spray you with mace or a taser or anything like that. That's for apprehending people. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's for another time and another place, in another season, and that's for when you're called to defend the community. And yet every day, in my everyday interaction with people that may, try and come at me, I gotta look at it like chess and not checkers, and I want you to do the same thing too. And I had to remind myself, like, yo, next time I go to the library, I gotta print one of these up, and that's why before I leave, I gotta print one of these up to keep it in my pocket, fold it up, and when I get tempted, just leave, walk away, and recite the creed. Because if you hear the words that I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, it'll tell you what to do in those situations, and find another spot to study. It may look like you're being the weakling, but it's what keeps you alive. It's what keeps you out of jail, and it's what keeps you out of trouble. Because somebody could be a bystander. They could agree with the other person. They might not like you. You didn't throw one punch. I didn't throw one punch. But somebody said you started it. You know what I'm saying? To hold freedom among the highest values, though I deny it. To those I guard, to deny it with dignity, that in my example they find no reason to lose their dignity, to be prompt, to be honest with all who practice deceit, that they find not in me reason for them, excuse for themselves, to privately face down my fears, that I not signal it, to privately clue my anger, that I not displace it on others, to hold in confidence what I see and what I hear, which by the telling could harm or humiliate to no good purpose, to keep my outside problems outside, to leave inside that which is stay inside, to do my duty. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I love my flag, my beautiful flag, my shiny red, white, and blue. I love my badge, my beautiful badge, my job, and everything that I do. All right, so listen, we're gonna pause and we're gonna take a break real quick. I'm gonna upload this. We got a couple books that I want to encourage you to read every time that you come to the library if you want to be a part of my discussion group. These are also available on Amazon, the Nolo books as well. We're probably not going to have time to get into it at all today, all of these, but we're going to skim the surface. You know what I'm saying? I got the script that whenever I leave here, I'm gonna practice, because I'm working on making this a short film and a movie for all my independent film fans out there, and my music fans. It's called Think Like a Cop. It's a book that I wrote whenever I was living at 11934 Willowbrook Avenue, 90059, Los Angeles, California. I'm looking for people that are interested in joining my drama club, Young Othello's Drama Club. So other than that, we're gonna pause and say shalom.
Every firm has its beginning. The struggle with today's budding businessmen is there's a lot of illiteracy and a huge amount of misinformation on behalf of the visionaries who have the vision but not yet able to articulate the big picture they are attempting to put into motion. For starts, when I say marketing firm, I mean Hotline Bling. Even if it's just a nickname, my think group knows I mean telecommunications, even just for sport. As a recording artist, I rely on my marketing team to help me boost my sales, as well as drive revenue to increase profits and performance walkthroughs, cameos, etc. As a homeboy, not using the word marketing firm, or just firm for short, may cause investors to see me as a homeboy and not a solid partner, or an investment worth more than a blue chip in reference to the movie, not at all its definition. With that being said, I want you to realize the street team is a promotions department extension, which in turn is an extension of the advertisement department, which falls under the umbrella of marketing, but interchangeably could leave any member moving in either direction. Some are not comfortable with guerrilla style marketing, but for every season turn, and we all gotta endure it, and some manner of teamwork is to make the dream work. So believe it or not, I was also working part-time at a thrift shop, not Walmart, where my boss was a huge fan of Anthony Kiedis. She told me plenty of times that I'd go far in life if I'd learn to sing like Anthony Kiedis. But that's when I saw her. Not my future wife or my sponsor, but she could have been if she wasn't yours. And let me tell you, when I saw her, I felt the same exact way as Prince did whenever she walked out through the inn door. Wait, saying, damn, Donnie, you suck at marketing. In all honesty, that was just a joke. You're all welcome to invest in my book dollars up for future reference to the poetic license to me pulling your chain for flinching. In reality, first comes a marketing campaign, then the think group, then is the teleconference, then is the tour and the actual physical conference, seminar, concert, workshop, etc. And this is what I mean when I tell my marketing team, we are a hustle, academic hustle campaign. Nevertheless, we are a hustle campaign. Like any athletic or political campaign, we hustle our ideas and gifts God gave us with our brains. We hustle our brains. The further marketing is appealing to the stores or the wholesale buyers so they could sell retail merchandise in the form of CDs, etc., in a quantity to their customers faster than I could myself. The distribution part is getting the product into their hands. So after sticking to the lily pad scenario, which was bouncing back and forth to restock each store a few CDs at a time, I gave up and began selling my CDs out of my backpack, bouncing from city to city and coast to coast. Not a bad idea, but the reason it didn't work is like it shouldn't have, like it should have, is that happened. And if you don't,
Hey, ma'am, in the red coat, why'd you take that picture down?
Even if
Oh,
you're
well, you mind putting
carrying,
it back because that's my property?
you know, not a lot
I saw
of
you
stuff.
put it in the purse. Just put it back on the pole.
So,
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you're gonna share the information with somebody, have you ever seen that guy before? Oh, were you gonna share it, or you were just gonna keep it? It is. All right. Well, you can read it on FBI.gov if you're interested. If you're interested in finding out who this guy is, he's wanted for attempted murder. He's a part of a criminal enterprise. He's wanted for $10 million by the FBI. It's on FBI.gov. All right, cool. Yeah.
just walk through Shelly Drive Plaza for the bus lets off by the big brontosaurus. And I'm on the second floor right now in the Carnegie Public Library. So just stepping into this phone booth, which is made for people who want to have a private conversation on the phone, which may include just stuff that they don't want people to know, like basically, you don't want to let people know that you lost your handcuff because people will take advantage of that whenever they have no integrity.
Allegheny County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
It's not an emergency. I'm just asking if you could transfer me to Port Authority Police so I could report something that I lost on the Port Authority bus.
Sure, just a moment.
Port Authority Police.
Hi, it's Allegheny County with a transfer. A caller lost something on one of the buses. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, so I just got off the 61B bus on Forbes Avenue in Oakland, right in front of the Carnegie Library, the side that where the entrance is to the museum.
Okay.
And I reached to the back of my belt because my belt unfastens sometimes. It's not very secure belt, but there was a pair of handcuffs that I usually keep with me. I take a class for handcuff training and I already passed enough to keep them on my person, but it's just trained so if I, like when I graduate, I could work as a correctional officer there if I get hired. It's their specific kind of handcuffs. They're silver, well, like the chrome color, the color of silver or chrome, and they're transportee handcuffs. So they're not the kind that a law enforcement officer would use. They're for correctional officers specifically. I actually lost another pair that are law enforcement officer kind that are black. And those I lost like about a month and a half ago. But I'm just calling you to let you know if you do find them, it's okay. I have other pairs of handcuffs, like one for each purpose. And like I go through them a lot when I exercise with them, but just so nobody picks them up and uses them because they're unlawful for anybody to have on their person unless they actually, they're either training and they have the permit and the license to carry them. So yeah, just if you want to let your bus driver know, they were headed bound towards like the shady side area, like coming from the direction where I boarded it at the 9054 bus stop, I think, like right in front of Starbucks.
Okay, so you're going to want to report this with customer service.
I don't really have the time to do it right now. I could call back if you just like give me their number, but I'm just calling you just to give a heads up. I don't need them again because I have backup cuffs. But just to let you know, so if anybody grabs them, that you alert Pittsburgh police or Pitt police, so they could get them before somebody else gets them who doesn't have a license like I do.
Okay, I can give you the number.
All right, sure. Whenever you're ready.
It's 412
Mm-hmm.
442
442
2000.
2000. All right, that's all. And just for your record, it's American Muscle Security LLC. I'm listed, parent group confidential. So yeah, I'm listed. If they have them or where they usually keep them in lost and found, like if I can't find the extra parent.
Give them a call and I'll let you know if they found them or not.
All right, Roger that.
All right, bye.
So yeah, that's why I call 911 because 911 is every day. Regardless of what joke is to that, it's not a joke when a little kid grabs them and locks them on another kid's wrist and their arms break because they're meant to put on your ankles and not around your wrist. They're transportee cuffs for people who get transported from jail to jail. And for the evidence, Your Honor, rest my case 3 minutes later, not it. I just got here to Carnegie Library, Oakland, Smithfield address. I'm at XV077Z. Computer on the first floor. In case anybody from my student organization wants to come in and study with me. I don't know if it's computer 7 or 9, but it's next to the one that says 8, facing the rear of the building. Now for my last transmission, you seen I had my badge on, so I'm actually taking it off just because I don't want to confuse anybody. So when you study at Coursera or any school that you study, if you're licensed and certified to do a limited jurisdictional kind of work like the forensics work that I do in the lab, then it's mostly, for jurisdictional purposes. Like if I walk through here and I come here to borrow a book, take out a book, and it's fast, it's cool. But to sit here, it's not that it's unlawful to do it. It just, you basically judge based on the crowd. Like, will it cause people to ask me a question that they would ask I think this is zone 1, or the security that works here, and they don't really know, so I don't want to throw them off and ask me a question they would ask a librarian or ask a security guard who's in charge here or ask a Pittsburgh police officer, because they don't know the difference between this and what they do until something comes in the mail that says forensics on it that I'm also going to wear on my badge, and that would be more clear. But even so, if you do decide to work for PGC or whatever my lab crew is, when you come in, if you're renting a book, that's cool. If you got all the proper whatever by the book statutes and law you need, in other words, paperwork and skills, in other words, jurisdiction. It really boils down to jurisdiction. Because if not, then there's no clearance. So it's not like 1 or 2. It's not about bells and whistles. It's about clearance. Everything has to be checked, or no systems go. Okay? So you represent me, so I'd advise to do as I do. So you see I'm taking it off just for no confusion. You're here to study. People understand, for people that are journeymen that really kind of have to on the go work, remote work type stuff, but to accommodate people who accommodate you, we move like that, or you're not in my student organization. And that clears the confusion, so nobody says, hey man, do you know? Because, if I don't know, then you don't show. Alright, I'll rest my case. We're going to study now. So after sticking to the lily pad scenario, which was bouncing back and forth to restock each store a few CDs at a time, I gave up and began selling my CDs out of my backpack, bouncing from city to city and coast to coast. Not a bad idea, but the reason it didn't work is like it shouldn't have, like it should have, is I didn't focus on building relationships with the buyers. I only looked at them as only one-time customers and not anything more, not even a lifetime customer. Every firm has its beginning.
I'm led to believe that, on the other side, whatever's over there, the creator, the most high creator, um, whatever's up there, the most majestic being, the great force is what I call it. And the workers of whatever is spawned into existence. I mean, I don't know if I would believe that they would be able to see what's down here. But when a boy or a little girl is born on earth, very well the angels could be singing like the song that I just sang, the harp that I heard angels sing. When a little kid cop is born on earth. When I was born a kid cop. That's just what I was born. There was other kid cops that was, kid cops in my neighborhood, in my city where I grew up, but it was just who we were. It wasn't anything special to us. It meant something to us, but we didn't truly know or were able to grasp until it was our time to grasp it. There we are. I have friends in my neighborhood, some of their fathers, they work for steel mills. The other ones that were like big engineers or architects at General Electric, or architect for some architectural, company, or doctors, There was this rich part of town, and as kids we called it the boulevards, because every street was named a boulevard. There was something like, it wasn't Roosevelt Boulevard because it wasn't that big of a town, but for example, hypothetically speaking, it would be a name, something like Roosevelt Boulevard, and they were all named after like presidents and like famous people, like generals in the war, like, let me think of another one, like Eisenhower Boulevard, you know what I mean, and whatever, and that wasn't really what it was called, but everything was a boulevard. So I grew up on a town, right, on the side of town. It was just called Liberty Street. And Liberty Street was a street that was parallel to this creek, and this creek was called Wolf Creek. And it really didn't mean anything to me at all. Because you're a kid and nothing really means anything to you except whatever toy you want for Christmas. Let's say you want like a He-Man, or a G.I. Joe's, or Legos, or the new Nintendo game, or whatever's cool, a hockey stick, a baseball bat, a mitt, something like that. Till you get older and you start asking for more and more. Let me get a skateboard. And skateboard's not good enough. Let me get a bike. Pops was like, I can't afford the bike that you want. I know the first bike that I got, that was really the bike that was like everybody wanted, because it was, when you're a kid, especially a young boy, it's cool to have the thing that outdoes the next person. So if something got like a generation, like an old generation, like an Arnold Schwarzenegger, you want a replica of the T-1000 because that's like the new shit. That's like the transformer of all shits, and you have something like a GoBot. I got that, whatever. That cutting edge. It was like it was really actually $179, I remember it. It was a extreme bike for, hold on, bless me, for people who do tricks. Like, there is a trick you can do, like, somebody like Sean Austin, somebody who does extreme sports like me. you know, you stand on, you do a Papa Willie on the front or the back or whatever, you have pegs. So all the bikes that were the baddest bikes to get, and back then bad meant good and good meant bad. Till we got our helmet on straight, shoulder pads. $200 and up, or $300 and you're just the king of the block. So my neighbor, of course, he had to have a $200, almost $300 bike because he had like every toy in the galaxy. So I was like competing with him and shit. Like, yo, Pops, I gotta get that bike. Like, I don't want to be the king. I just want to be at least second place. Like back then I was like, I don't care. Fuck it. As long as I get second place, I do not want to be last. It's going to be too embarrassing. So he was like, it was called a Predator. It was a Schwinn Predator. It was white. It had black handlebars and it had pegs. That's all I wanted, so somebody could ride on the back. And you know who was going to ride on the back? My boy from Danger Hill. See, Danger Hill was at the end of the street. It was right before the end of the street. There was like a car dealership at the end of my street that I would ride my bike at, because there's not anywhere to ride your bike in front of the house because there's a road that's like literally like it, you can get hit, which was why it was so dangerous, Liberty Street. And then, there's another street, but I'm not going to tell you that street because this is my story. This is Zeno from the park. So, Zeno in Italian, it means junior, Zeno, So growing up, there's no wonder, like, I always looked up to Indiana Jones because his father, Sean Connery, well, my dad was something like Sean Connery, but not Indiana Jones' dad. So, he used to call me Junior. He'd say, Junior, come here. But he wouldn't say it in English. He would say it in Italian or Portuguese because that's the language that my family and my father spoke. And he said, Zinho, Raulzinho, anda cá, which means under me. Come here, right now. So Zinho, ora. Por que você quer esses, coisas? Why do you want these things? Muito dinheiro. I have to learn how to trabajo. Você brinca muito. That's all he did. He just studied. He was just like a brain that never stopped studying. That was my dad. All he did was just study. He never did anything but read books when he was home. And then he just went out, and we would just never see him for a long time. He'd be on business trips. My memory of my father, I never remember seeing my father. It wasn't because he wasn't there, it's because I was the last of I guess, not really a dying breed, but of a dynasty. Glory to the newborn King. Peace on earth, goodwill to men. Glory to the newborn King. When I was growing up, I used to spend a lot of time going to church with my grandmother. She wasn't really my grandmother, but she was something like a grandmother to me. My life was something like an orphan. Nothing like Annie. Something like, not really Superman. Nobody really left me on like somebody's porch step, I don't think. But however it started, there was a lot of times singing hymns in church with this lady that, well, I guess, took me into her confidence, and, that I was growing up, you know. One of the first stories that I remember being told was my actual father. He wasn't really a preacher, he did a couple different things. But there was one day that he was actually preaching. He just did a couple things. Like people, they just let him do what he did. They gave him a platform, and if he needed to do something, they would provide a way for him to do what he had to do to bring home a turkey or a Christmas tree. And he was preaching at this church, and the woman that raised me, she said, I always thought you were going to be a preacher, because when you were a little boy, you crawled out of my arms onto the floor, and you crawled under every single pew, and you crawled up to the stage where your father was preaching. Do you believe that? And I smiled as I tried to remember. But when you're like 13, 14, or whatever old you are, you don't remember what your life was when you were crawling on a rock. Even if it was a church where your father preached at. Even if it was nothing familiar.
What are some reasons that we huddle in our man cave? How many people is too many people for a business huddle? When we as playmakers come up with a play, how do we let another playwright know we have some official advice to lighten the load of the others? My brothers. I got another one for my men's group right now. When we as associates come up with a marketing campaign, how do we let another associate know that we substantially increase productivity well into overhead, thus Fort met our quota? It's a pretty fine trait. All right, how do we celebrate when the marketing campaign goes as planned? Is there ever a place and a time to make a play outside of the business huddle? And here goes the alternative flip one. Is there ever a place and a time to discuss a marketing strategy outside of the business huddle? If you see the sense in that, say, let me get it. Let me get a sober life is mine. Sober life is mine, my friend. Hey, yo, I'm nice. Welcome to Hotline Bling Telecom. I'm your host, Donnie Wu. Splash. How many of you find education valuable? Is education from a technical college or trade college worth investing in? How many graduated from college? Nice. Is there anyone that never attended college? Let me see a show of hands if any of you out there have some college credits. Okay. How many never finished high school? How many finished? Okay. How many feel that your chances of being successful flew out the window when you dropped out of school? All right, all right. How many have plans of returning? That's what I'm talking about. In today's economic climate, how do you plan to do so if you answer yes? Welcome to Hotline Bling Telecom. I'm your host, Donnie Wu. Splash.
Jacket, I don't know, it's probably gone. I fucking painted speech on it. Whoever finds it, whatever. I don't even care. Just know, one day, y'all motherfuckers are gonna come across that little fucking black jean jacket. Be like, wow, this is Elizabeth Rosen. She just fucking got this and that on the fucking arm leather. And I'm just saying, like, it sounds crazy, and I'm usually a humble bitch. But whatever it is. And like, don't even do that. What's the little one? I need some fucking nicotine right now. Please. I'll catch it in my mouth right here. I don't fucking care. Make a game out of it. Start. Please.
I'll drop it in. Don't bite me.
My feet don't touch.
Oh, don't shoot it. Oh, yeah, don't shoot it. No. Just put it in your lip.
Oh no! I smoked.
No, just put it in your lip. Just let it spot your lip. Oh, put it on the lip. You broke it, spit it out. Yeah.
I drank that.
You swallowed it?
I did